In a world addicted to feeling good, chasing that instant rush of energy, that sudden burst of inspiration, that high we call motivation, most men are living a lie. You know the feeling, you watch a powerful video, you read an inspiring book, you make a grand plan, and for one shining day, you are full of unstoppable energy. You think, this time, I'm going to stick to it. But then, 2 days later, the feeling is gone. The inspiration vanishes. The energy dips. And the moment the feeling is gone, the consistency breaks, and you are left right back where you started. Motivation is not your ally. Motivation is a fickle, unreliable master. It is an emotional fuel, a spontaneous rush of energy that only shows up when conditions are perfect, when you are well rested, and when you feel like it. Because it is tied to feeling, the moment your feelings change, the moment you are tired, bored, or stressed, motivation abandons you. You, the lone wolf, know that true, lasting power cannot be built on something so shaky and random. You need consistency. You need a code. You need a system that works whether you feel inspired or not. Today, for the Solitude Scroll, we are ending the chase for motivation forever. We are diving deep into the 3 foundational philosophies that are not based on feelings, but on unshakable structure and truth. These are the principles that successful people, the masters, the innovators, the truly sovereign, live by. We will show you how to trade the anxiety of chasing a feeling for the quiet power of a system. The problem, the trap of emotional fuel. Before we explore the cure, we must completely understand the trap. The trap of motivation is its inconsistency. Motivation is driven by the dopamine reward system in your brain. When you watch that inspirational video or think about your future success, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical signal of pleasure and anticipation. Your brain loves this feeling, so it encourages you to engage in the planning and thinking part of the work, because that's the immediate reward. However, the actual work, the hard, boring, repetitive effort, rarely delivers that same rush. Your brain quickly learns that it gets a faster, easier dopamine hit from planning the task or watching the motivational video than it does from doing the actual discipline required. This creates the fatal loop. You seek motivation to start the work, but the process of seeking motivation actually trains your brain to prioritize pleasure over genuine effort. The result is a cycle of huge emotional highs followed by devastating, unproductive lows. You become a student of inspiration, but a master of nothing. The 3 philosophies we are about to explore bypass this dopamine trap entirely. They are designed not to make you feel good, but to make you act consistently, regardless of how you feel. Philosophy 1, Stoicism, the discipline of duty and control. The first and most powerful philosophical cure for inconsistency is Stoicism. This timeless wisdom, practiced by Roman emperors and ancient thinkers, is the ultimate system for managing your mind and focusing your energy. The core principle, the dichotomy of control. The heart of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, the understanding that the universe is divided into 2 parts, things you can control and things you cannot control. Things you cannot control, the weather, other people's opinions, the outcome of your investments, your past. Things you can control are your effort, your actions, your judgments, and your response to events. Anxiety, frustration, and the loss of motivation are always born when you focus your mental energy on the things you cannot control. You feel motivated when the results look good, but you lose motivation the moment external events turn against you. The Stoic eliminates this weakness. The Sigma rule, the sovereign man dedicates 100% of his energy to his duty, the things he can control, and accepts with complete indifference everything else. Your duty is the daily, grinding work required for your mission, regardless of whether that work brings immediate praise or results. You replace the question, "Do I feel like doing this?" with the command, "This is my duty." This shift is everything. Your success is measured by the quality of your effort, which is controllable, not the size of the outcome, which is uncontrollable. The Stoic knows that when he focuses on his duty, he achieves unshakable tranquility because he has surrendered control of the outcome to fate. The outcome is external and therefore irrelevant to his internal peace. This profound mental discipline is the exact opposite of chasing motivation. Implementation, strategic techniques of Stoicism. To implement Stoicism, you rely on its powerful, practical techniques. Technique A. Premeditatio Malorum, Rehearsing Loss. This technique literally means the premeditation of evils. It is the mental rehearsal of the worst-case scenario. It is the opposite of positive thinking, but it is far more powerful. When you feel anxiety about a situation, a financial loss, a public failure, or the collapse of a relationship, you force yourself, in your solitude, to mentally walk through the disaster. You ask, if my worst fear comes true? If I lose the money, if the project fails, if I am publicly criticized, what remains? By consciously rehearsing the loss of external things, money, status, approval, you achieve two critical things. 1. Desensitization. You realize the outcome is survivable. Your mind has established a survival plan, and the anxiety alarm loses its urgency. 2. Focus on the internal. You realize that the truly valuable things, your character, your knowledge, your discipline, and your self-worth, cannot be taken away by a market crash or a bad review. This practice allows you to treat every external possession and outcome as on loan from fate. When you mentally resign yourself to potentially losing it, you achieve instant detachment and fearlessness. You are never happier than when you are prepared for the worst. This is not pessimism, it is a defensive strategy. By confronting and accepting the worst-case scenario mentally, you free up all the energy you were wasting worrying about it, and you redirect that energy toward constructive action. You have nothing left to fear because you've already survived the worst in your mind. Technique B. The inner citadel. Guard your attention. Marcus Aurelius taught that your mind is your inner citadel, your sacred, uninvadable sanctuary. The moment you allow external chaos, judgment, or noise to enter, you surrender your peace. Social media anxiety, gossip, and the constant need for comparison are all invaders attempting to breach your citadel. The Stoic rule: guard your attention fiercely. You must eliminate all low-value external input that serves no purpose other than distracting you from your duty. The data filter: you only allow in information that is actionable, signal, and necessary for your mission. All emotional noise, shallow opinions, and fear-based predictions are instantly deflected at the gate. The pause button: you insert a moment of pause between an external event, seeing a rival's success, receiving unfair criticism, and your emotional response. In that pause, you ask, is this up to me? If the answer is no, the judgment is rejected, and your peace is maintained. This philosophical firewall ensures your energy is never wasted chasing the uncontrollable, but is always directed toward your chosen mission. You must treat your attention as a high-security resource. Philosophy 2. Systems thinking, the power of identity and environment. If Stoicism provides the why, duty, systems thinking provides the how, structure. This philosophy bypasses motivation entirely by focusing on process, identity, an environment over lofty, emotional goals. The core principle: focus on the process, not the goal. The trap of motivation is that it is always tied to the emotional payoff of the goal, e.g., getting six-pack abs, launching the business. Goals are distant events that create emotional pressure and inconsistency. The system's rule: you shift your focus entirely from the distant goal to the present process. You stop obsessing over what you want to achieve, the outcome, and start obsessing over who you want to become through your daily habits, the process. The goal mindset: you feel successful only when you hit the goal, an uncontrollable outcome. This creates inconsistency because failure is inevitable along the way. The system's mindset: you feel successful every single time you execute the habit, a controllable action. Consistency is instantly rewarded. This turns discipline into a non-emotional daily ritual. Your success is guaranteed by the quality of your systems, not the intensity of your feelings. You fall in love with the monotony of continuous execution. Implementation: the strategic techniques of systems. To implement systems thinking, you rely on the foundational work of habit formation, using the environment to automate consistency. Technique A: environmental design, making the right choice easy. Motivation relies on willpower, and willpower is finite and unreliable. Systems thinking relies on environmental design, structuring your physical space to make the right choice the immediate, default choice, and the wrong choice difficult. Make the habit obvious: if your duty is to write for 1 hour, you leave the writing software open on your computer screen. If your duty is to read, you leave the book open on your pillow or desk, next to your coffee cup. You eliminate the decision point. You remove the need for motivation to choose the right action. Make the bad habit invisible: if your duty is to avoid time wasting, you don't rely on willpower, you increase the friction required to commit the bad habit. You unplug the gaming console, put your phone on airplane mode in a separate room, or delete the distracting apps from your home screen. The extra steps required to commit the bad habit make it less likely to happen. The average person relies on a burst of motivation to override their environment. The sovereign man designs his environment to automate his discipline. Technique B: identity-based habits, becoming the type of man. The strongest form of systems thinking is tied to identity. You stop chasing fleeting results and start asking, who is the type of man who already achieves this result? Goal: write a novel. Identity question: what would a dedicated author do today? Answer: write 500 words before checking email. Goal: launch a successful business. Identity question: what would a sovereign entrepreneur do today? Answer: focus on execution, not seeking external validation. This shifts the motivation from an external result to an internal definition of self. You are no longer trying to get something, you are focused on being the type of person who is already worthy of that result. When your identity is aligned with the habit, discipline becomes easier, because the habit is simply an extension of who you are. You don't need motivation to be yourself. Technique C: the 2-minute rule, breaking inertia. The biggest enemy of any system is inertia, the difficulty of getting started. Systems thinking solves this with the 2-minute rule. If a habit takes less than 2 minutes to start, you must reduce it to its 2-minute form. Habit: write for 1 hour. 2-minute form: open the Word document. Habit: run 5 miles. 2-minute form: put on running shoes. The goal is to get started quickly and let the momentum of the system carry you. You can almost always summon the motivation to do a task for 2 minutes. Once you are in motion, you are no longer relying on motivation, you are relying on physics. This small technique eliminates procrastination instantly. Philosophy 3, Negative Visualization, the Fuel of Avoidance. The final philosophy is the most potent emotional tool, used to generate powerful, sustained drive by harnessing the reliable emotion of regret. This bypasses the dopamine system entirely by utilizing a deep-seated human instinct, the avoidance of pain. The core principle, the cost of inaction. Motivation promises pleasure and reward, gain. This is inconsistent. Negative visualization focuses on the pain and regret of inaction, loss. Pain is a more powerful and reliable motivator than pleasure. The avoidance rule. You generate energy not by imagining the successful person you could become, but by mentally confronting the person you will regret becoming if you fail to act today. The failure of most men is not in their goals, but in their inertia, their inability to move when conditions are less than perfect. This philosophy breaks that inertia by making the cost of staying still painfully clear. Implementation, confronting future regret. To implement this philosophy, you must regularly and intentionally confront the cost of not executing your duty. Technique A, the 80-year-old test, clarity on priorities. You mentally fast-forward your life to your 80th birthday. You sit in your rocking chair and confront the version of yourself who failed to act on your current mission. The question, what compromises did I make in my life that I regret the most? Did I regret prioritizing the comfort of the sofa over the discipline of the gym? Did I regret putting in too much hard work, or did I regret prioritizing comfort and validation over my purpose? The truth, you realize that at 80, you will never regret the hours of focused solitude or the moments you chose hard truth over comfort. You will only regret the moments you allowed fear of judgment or lack of motivation to dictate your choices. This exercise provides immediate, unshakable clarity on your current priorities. It eliminates the distraction of today's low-stakes drama by measuring it against the high-stakes perspective of your entire life. It forces you to choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. Technique B, the fear as fuel conversion. The next time you feel the initial surge of fear or anxiety about starting a hard task, you immediately convert that signal into productive energy. Fear signal, I'm afraid to start this hard work because I might fail and people will judge me. Conversion, I am terrified of the person I will be in 5 years if I let this feeling stop me. That future regret is worse than any present failure. I will use this surge of fear to force the first 2 minutes of action. This conversion taps into a universal human truth: we are more reliably motivated by the pain of loss than the promise of gain. You are not chasing future happiness, you are avoiding future pain. This makes your discipline relentless and deeply rooted. Conclusion: the ultimate freedom. The chase for motivation is a desperate, endless race against your own feelings. It is the path of the mediocre. The lone wolf chooses a different path, the path of immutable principles. You achieve your greatest success not when you finally feel motivated, but when you trade the fragile chaos of feelings for the quiet, predictable power of structure. The freedom you seek is not emotional, it is systemic. It is found in the confidence that your actions are dictated by your sovereign code, not the temporary mood of the day. If you are ready to stop being a slave to motivation and start becoming the master of your own system, if you are ready to build a life based on duty, identity, and unshakable structure, then it is time to make a commitment. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Solitude Scroll, and drop a comment below.